break here, and before the Nebraska game comes on, go Huskers. I thought I'd do a real quick reading of Chapter 4. Chapter 4 of Douglas Jerrod. Here, I'll give you a closer look of the artwork. Remember, you can get all the information on Douglas Jerrod at Douglas Jerrod and SamsonPWillings.com, and it'll direct you almost anywhere you need to go for any of the writings that I do. So, without any further ado, Chapter 4. Chapter 4. This is in the green-eyed section still. A case to top all cases. Douglas weaved carefully through the officers that riddled the lobby of the manic floor on his way to the conference room that housed the all-important meeting. When he reached the glass doors with the blinds down to the conference room, the strange sense came over him like a floodwater as it ripped through a small village town to pieces. He hunched over slightly as the sense raced over his body and through his mind. Not again, and especially not now, he thought while he fought back the sense with all the while the words of Dr. Scott that went through his mind. You are the one in control. I am the one that is in control. I am in control. I am in control. I am in control. Douglas took a few deep breaths, along with the reassuring words of inspiration left by Dr. Scott. A few of the officers heard Douglas as he muttered his chant of self-motivation. When he stood straight up, he noticed the two of the officers while they observed him closely with looks of concern on their faces. Just as he viewed the two staring him down, he shot back a look of nothing left to see here. May I help you two with something? No. No? Are you okay, sir? I am just fine, gentlemen, as you were. Douglas turned his attention back to the conference room door, grabbed the handle, slowly opened the door, and walked into the already commenced meeting as quietly and gingerly as possible. He slid around the perimeter of the group of police personnel while he looked for Charles. Charles can catch me up on what I missed in the early goings of the briefing, he thought while he passed politely, gently by a couple more officers. He finally spotted and proceeded to make his way to Charles. Where have you been, Doug? I had a personal meeting that went a little long, Chuck. What did I miss? Just the normal. Reports on the 24-hour surveillance gathered for a couple of weeks on Robert Lee Cutter. You know, the person of interest for the last year. Come on, man. The case of the year and your father's life work. While the two bickered quietly under the speech that Lieutenant Voigt gave to the men in the room, the lieutenant noticed them as they conversed amongst themselves. As soon as the lieutenant spotted the two speaking to each other and not paying attention to the reports on the case, he ceased talking to the group and directed his attention to Officer Jerrod and Officer Murphy. He crossed his arms in front of himself and viewed the two officers' behavior with each other. After a second or two, he couldn't hold his tongue anymore. Am I boring you two ladies? No, sir. Of course not, sir. Ah, Officer Jerrod, nice of you to join us. I wouldn't have missed it for the world, sir. I would hope so. This is part of the organization that put your old man in his chair. To be more specific, Mr. Cutter here is your reason for being here. Yes, sir. You are correct, sir. Now that we have come to an agreement, can I proceed with a briefing, if you don't mind? Of course, sir. The lieutenant uncrossed his arms and went back to the corkboard with the pictures of people of interest. He gazed at the board for a split second to reset his train of thought to start from the top. If only everyone would show up on time, he pondered as he pointed to the picture of Robert Lee Cutter on the board. For the ones that have just joined us, this is the man we are after today. But we are collecting evidence against the Cutter organization to apprehend this man, Jordan Lee Cutter. The lieutenant moved his finger from the picture of Robert to a picture of an older gentleman with gray hair and faded skin tone. He looked directly to Douglas as to point out the importance of the information to him. He then pointed to a photo of a huge white mansion as he prepared himself to continue his informative review. I hope this is sinking in this time, he thought swiftly before he commenced his report. We have organized for one team to hit the Cutter estate and the other team to hit here, the Cutter boatyard. Now, there are 3 men that head the security of these 2 locations. Carl E. Ellis, a.k.a. E., Ethan J. Collins, a.k.a. J., and Martha T. Stamps, a.k.a. Big Tom Tom. Both E and J patrol the grounds of the estate, and Big Tom Tom runs the boatyard. The lieutenant pointed out each of the locations and persons out on the cockboard while he spoke of them. After he re-explained the opening part of his briefing for a second time, he turned back to the group of the officers that riddled the conference room. He scanned the room to make sure that he had the attention of the room before he commenced the second part of the report again. Right before he started, he locked eyes with Douglas again. Now, from the information collected by surveillance, we are looking at a group of 10 men at the mansion and about the same at the boatyard. These men are very armed and geared, so we will have to take extra special care with this one. And remember, we are trying to take Robert E. J. and Big Tom Tom alive, but if it can't be helped, then take the shot. Let's go out there and get our men, gentlemen. The lieutenant finished up strong before he waved the men off to their stations. While the men filed out of the conference room, he made his way to Officer Jerrod and Officer Murphy as they still stood in the room awaiting everyone to vacate the room. He reached the unsuspecting gentlemen before they took their leave. He tapped them both the men on the shoulder to let them know he wanted a moment of their time. Jerrod, Murphy, you 2 will be with me and at the mansion, and if the information is right, we might have a surprise appearance from the big boss himself. Then we can really get some payback for your old man. Do you mean Jordan Lee Cutter himself might be there? Yes, So you guys go with Sergeant Garcia, suit up, and I will see you gentlemen in the field. The lieutenant ordered to the men before he directed them to the sergeant. As the two walked over to the Latino woman that conversed with the computer technician that was going over the surveillance tapes, while they made their final approach to the hourglass-figured female, she finished up her discussion with the technician and turned to greet them. She folded her hands politely and orderly behind her back. So, you two are the chosen ones to the lieutenant. I know why he picked you, Officer Jerrod, but I don't know why he picked you, Murphy. Hey, Sergeant, if you are having a hard time seeing my hidden talent, maybe I can come over to your place after this is all said and done. You wish, Murphy. I don't fraternize with the people I give orders to. Maybe I could be the first. If the lieutenant didn't pick you personally, I would kick you off this case and slap a harassment complaint so fast your life would stop and go in reverse. But since he did, I have a shot? Not likely. Shut up and follow me. After the flirtatious exchange, Sergeant Garcia turned swiftly towards the glass doors of the conference room and led both of the gentlemen to the doors. She grabbed the handle and opened the door. Then she walked out of the room with Murphy and Jerrod in tow. She led them through the main lobby, past all the random faces that filled the main floor, and out of the building. She turned to brief the men on their task as they all strolled towards a large company van with Joe's Lawn Service printed on the side of it in large forest green letters. Now, you two are going to be the men on the ground, the insiders, if you will. Every Thursday, Joe's Lawn Service goes and does the landscaping from 11:30 to 2:30. As they reached the van, Garcia opened up the back van doors. After the doors were open, she motioned for Murphy and Jerrod to hop in the vehicle. They quickly jumped in with her, and when they were in, she shut the doors. While they all situated themselves in the back of the surveillance van, the lieutenant entered the back from the front of the van. Gentlemen, has the sergeant brought you up to speed? I was in the process, sir. That is where you guys come in. The sergeant handed Murphy and Jerrod both some Joe's Lawn Service white jumpsuits. She then motioned the two to change into the uniforms right then and there. She maintained a straight face while the two stripped down to their boxers and quickly put on their uniforms. Both Murphy and Jerrod's faces blushed red while they put their sidearms into their tool belts. You two will keep a watchful eye out for the 4 men of importance. Once you do, you will give the order to breach the mansion. You got it, guys? We go when you give the go. The go phrase is, this grass is damp. Yes, sir. The men responded to the orders while Lieutenant Boyd motioned for Murphy and Jerrod to hop in the front seats of the van. Boyd hobbled his way through the cramped van to his chair in front of the surveillance monitors that filled one side of the van wall, while Garcia squeezed past him to continue her explanation of the mission. Murphy started up the engine and began to drive to the mansion as Jerrod turned and listened to Garcia. Now, When you two are on the inside of the compound, you will be disconnecting the system and disabling the cameras. To signal when this is done, say, the eyes are down and the ears are deaf. After Void and I get that line from you, we will put the breaching teams in place to wait for you to say, the grass is dry? No, Murphy, the grass is damp. Correct, Jerrod. After we hear the grass is damp, we will send the 2 teams in to collect the 4 individuals. Quick and safe. Now, what are the 2 things that signal us to go, Jerrod? The eyes are down and the ears are deaf. And the grass is damp. Very good, Jerrod. Now, I will turn it back over to Void. Jerrod, give me a mic check. The mic is inside the shirt collar, so all you have to do is speak. The lieutenant spoke as he put on the big stereo headset that encased his ears and adjusted the volume. Then he looked at the monitors to check if the cameras that were hidden on the men were working properly. He turned and gave the thumbs up just as they pulled up in front of the mansion. Murphy put the vehicle in park and shut it off while Garcia took her seat in the back of the van. Both Jerrod and Murphy got out of the van nonchalantly and strolled up to the security gate at the mansion. I sure hope this works out the way it sounds. It looks so good on paper. It will, Chuck. I have a great feeling about this. I wish I had the same faith you do, Doug. The 2 finished up with their little side discussion as they reached the huge white reinforced gate. Douglas reached out and pressed the call box button to page someone to the gate. As quickly as Douglas pressed the call button, a rather large gentleman stepped out of the security booth just beyond the gate on the other side. While the man approached them, Douglas noticed it was one of the men from the corkboard. It was Jay. One confirmed, 3 to go. How may I help you? Oh, the lawn guys. You 2 are late, and you are new. Who are you 2? I am Don, and this is Clyde. You can call me D, and my partner here, C. Everyone else does. Alright, D and C, come with me. Jay pressed the button on the booth control board to let the 2 in. Both Douglas and Charles walked through the gate when there was enough space to. Then he pressed the button again to close up the gate behind them. He waved them to follow him to the garage to the lawn care equipment. While they walked, he began to chit-chat. Where's Bill and Joe? Bill had jury duty today, and Joe is down with the flu. You better build up your vitamin C, D. It is sure going around. 3 of my guys came down with the flu and had to take sick days today. The 2 officers led by Jay reached the door to the garage entrance. He retrieved a key from his big key ring, put it into the keyhole, and opened up the door. Both Douglas and Charles entered the wide open 3-car garage with the exception of the black and very sleek Diablo, a riding lawnmower, and a weed whacker. Upon seeing the luxury car, Charles rushed up on the Diablo. You are such a beauty in this land. Don't touch that, see? That is the boss's car, and he won't appreciate fingerprints on his baby. I'm sorry, man. I just got carried away when I saw her. You can look, but you can't touch. The boss will rather end you than listen to why you left smudges on his child. Sorry for my friend. It will not happen again. It better not, D. There is the machinery that you can touch and make the job quick. Dr. Cutter hates it when Mr. Cutter hates it when plans change and you're supposed to be out of here at 2:30. Sorry that we were late again with the traffic and all, but we will be out of here by 2:30. Good, because the boss has a special guest today, so make it a special job, okay? Yes, sir. The best job ever, sir. Douglas replied to Jay's request before Jay exited the garage after pointing out the lawn equipment. Jay pressed the garage door button to open up the large garage door and then shut and locked the side door behind him. After the garage way opened all the way, Douglas viewed him walking back down to his station. While he made his way, Douglas picked up the weed whacker off of the garage floor. I will go and start weed whacking around the front gate while you start in the backyard. Why can't I go and weed whack and you start in the back? Damn it, Chuck. We are here to open up this place and take down the cutters, not to do actual lawn work. You're right, Doug. I will go start in the back and you take care of the security system. Charles mounted up on the lawnmower and started it up while Douglas set out for the front gate. Charles pulled out of the garage and went towards the backyard. As he reached the backyard, as he reached the security booth, he started up the weed whacker and started to line the wall next to the booth where he viewed the cable that led into the security station. He ran the gas-powered whacker over the cable, but the cord to the whacker wasn't strong enough to sever it. So in a moment of improvisation, he shut the whacker off, bent over next to the whacker, pulled out a knife from his tool belt, and cut clean through the live cable. What the hell? What did you do? Jay stood up from his seat after he irritably questioned Douglas about the sudden shut off of the surveillance monitors in the security booth. He heatedly opened the half door to the booth while Douglas put away his knife. He stepped out of the booth and stomped over to where Douglas hunched over the weed whacker. He let out a heavy sigh of disappointment as Douglas put on his best act of ignorance. What the hell is going on here? I'm sorry, I didn't see the cable here. Let me see. Jay pushed Douglas disrespectfully out of the way to view all the damage that was done. He looked through the freshly cut weeds for a half second before he found the severed cable. He picked it up to notice it wasn't cut crudely but clean, like it was cut with a knife. He turned and looked at Douglas. Who are you guys? Nothing you need to worry about right now. Douglas quickly, in a flash, hit Jay across the back of his head, knocking him cold unconscious. Then he swiftly restrained Jay up in rope and dragged the motionless body into the booth. After he laid Jay's body to rest safely inside the booth, he pulled out some wire cutters from his tool belt and disabled the alarm. He lifted his collar slightly towards his face to make sure that his next words came through clearly. The eyes are down and the ears are deaf. Also, Jay has been taken out of the equation. Good, Jerrod. We have got word from Murphy that he has spotted E and Robert inside the mansion, but there still is no sign of Jordan yet. Continue as you are until Jordan is spotted. Copy. Douglas let go of his collar and proceeded to start up the weed whacker after he exited the booth. He walked over to the gate and continued to edge around it until Jordan appeared. He scanned the front yard area closely, but still no Jordan. Suddenly, he rounded the cement fence towards the backyard. The phrase came over the airwaves. The grass is damp. It is go time, Douglas thought while he pulled his sidearm and made his way to Charles. As he entered the backyard area of the house, the breaching teams breached through both cement walls on opposite sides of the yard and flooded the grounds. He made his way through the dust and chaos, still looking for his partner. He finally spotted Charles, shooting towards Jordan Lee when a sharp pain quickly shot through his chest. "That's my partner," Douglas let out with the last bit of energy and will he had in his being as he slumped to a pile of dead mass on the ground. On the way down, he looked in the direction of his own death blow to see Robert Lee with the smoking gun. Charles turned to see him fall to the ground. His courageous partner made a dead sprint to his fallen comrade. Charles caught his head before it hit the ground. "No, buddy, don't leave me. Stay with me now. We will get you some help. It is all right, friend. We will meet again. If only your old man could have gotten the drop on Jordan back in '85. Douglas closed his eyes as everything went black. Just as it ended, Douglas Sr. came to in his room on his bed. "No, it can't end this way. There must be something I can do," he thought as the sunlight peeked through the only small window of his lodging. And that has been Chapter 4. Intriguing, no? Well, Huskers are over. Wildcats. Yeah! Good day. Frank out.